I'm Brian Cornelius, senior video producer at Fast Company and humble soccer fan. Back in 2010, FIFA, the governing body of world soccer, controversially awarded this year's tournament to the host nation of Qatar. Widespread accusations of bribery soon followed, including from the United States Department of Justice. But that didn't stop the tournament from going ahead, despite the fact that Qatar was utterly unprepared to host an event on the scale of the World Cup. They had to build a brand new airport, hundreds of hotels, and crucially, 7 brand new stadiums. To do so, they brought in an army of migrant workers from some of the poorest nations in the world. Those workers were forced to live in overcrowded, tiny shacks in the desert and were paid roughly $1 per hour for grueling physical construction work outdoors in heat up to 120 degrees. A reported 6,500 migrant workers have died in Qatar since they were announced as the host of the tournament. So how did they get away with bribing themselves into hosting a tournament they had no business hosting, and then using forced labor to build a nation's worth of infrastructure, all in the name of a vanity project aimed at making themselves look good? The short answer is, they knew they could. FIFA, like many sports organizations, has almost always been corrupt. The people at the top of the organization have been pushing the line on what they can get away with for decades because they know they have a captive audience. The fans will always be fans at the end of the day, and they will show up with their wallets. So FIFA takes a little money on the side. They look the other way. They just don't think about the hateful homophobic laws of their new friends. The farcical nature of this year's tournament seems to be the ultimate test of that theory. None of it makes any sense. But Qatar, FIFA, and their sponsors are betting that we the fans will show up anyway. For a lot of people, what is essentially slave labor and naked corruption crosses their personal line. To be honest, it's a little bit crazy to me to think that that might not be my own personal line. To even be considering watching and contributing financially with my eyeballs to something this horrific feels dirty to me. But I object to the idea of if you don't like it, just stop watching. I think that framing is exactly backwards. I have no power in this scenario. I can't coordinate with the other 4 billion or so people to boycott. Me turning off my individual TV will do nothing to help the lives of the widows and the children of the men who died building those stadiums. And selfishly, I don't want to stop watching this thing that I love. I want to enjoy it. I don't think it's asking too much for the organizers of the biggest sports event on the planet to find somewhere to stage their tournament that doesn't lead to thousands of deaths, no matter how much they got bribed. We as fans couldn't stop this thing from going ahead, but someone on the board at FIFA certainly could have. All it would have taken was a few more votes the other way. Certainly the marketing executives at Budweiser or Coca-Cola or McDonald's or Frito-Lay or Visa or dozens of other companies that sponsor the tournament could have. They could have told FIFA, thanks, but I'd rather spend my $75 million somewhere that doesn't put my logo next to forced labor. I'm sure if Real Madrid or Liverpool or the Premier League as a whole had said to FIFA, you know what, we're not going to stop our season dead in the middle so that the players can leave and play for their countries in a tournament that has to be played at the wrong time of year because you were bribed to put it in the desert. That might have made a difference. But somehow, none of that happened. And I am mad as hell. Mad as hell that no one with actual power stepped in. Mad as hell that I'm supposed to look at John Hamm pretending to be Santa Claus in the promo commercials and act like everything is normal. Mad as hell because I know that morally, it's hard to argue that turning off the TV isn't the right thing to do. And this week, I'll find myself in front of that TV, hoping I'm strong enough to do so, and wishing it hadn't come to this.